To resolution or not to resolution? That is the question. I have seen a lot of opinions about New Year's resolutions, especially when it comes to health and fitness and nutrition spaces. Do I set one? Do I not set one? What kind of goals should I set? Should I try this certain diet out? Should I join a gym? And the list goes on and on. Of course, when it comes to setting a goal, we want it to be something at which we can succeed. But what if you're someone who has gotten caught up in the diet cycle of failure over and over again, and you're wondering, is this even worth it anymore? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you an exercise that can be helpful when starting any type of new program or setting a goal, joining a gym, or whatever steps you might take towards your health in this new year, should you decide to do that. Hey friends, I'm Christina, and on this channel, we talk about lean eating skills and the psychology of fat loss without restrictive diets and calorie counting, while keeping the fun in life, because dieting sucks. Lots of people have high motivation for change at the turn of a new year. New year, new me, or so it goes, right? Well, when motivation is high, that can be a great time to try something new. But it's important to remember that motivation is not some static thing that we either have or don't have. It's totally normal to sometimes feel really motivated and sometimes to not feel motivated. If you decide to make a change in your eating behavior, let's say for example, I want to stop my late night snacking or turning to food when I'm stressed out. Well, there are probably going to be times when the motivation for change is high. You might go about your day, you're feeling positive, you're feeling good about it, and it's easy to make the better choices. Then there will be times when motivation is low. You wake up and you just don't feel like doing the thing. Well, we might get discouraged and think, this is never going to work anyway, so I don't care about this anymore. These thoughts are totally normal, and most people experience them because changing is hard. Sometimes we are going to fail or make mistakes or feel distracted by the worries of life, feel like we're behind, or maybe I should just try again next year. But it doesn't have to be like that. Making any kind of change is hard, and it's going to come with some challenges, but we can anticipate those challenges and understand that we don't have to be perfect. So how can we anticipate these low points? How can we reinforce the positive reason for change each day? Because there's something in us that feels inspired to improve some aspect of our lives, right? So let's take some time to plan and reflect. If you're feeling really motivated in the turn of the new year, one of the most powerful things you can do is set aside some time to reflect. Reflection can be really helpful because life gets busy and the changes we intended to make may give way to old familiar patterns. When we don't take the time to reflect on the choices we're making, the situations we end up in, the challenges we face, what goes well, what doesn't go well, or how do I want to do things differently in the future, then things will likely stay the same. Creating new habits is all about challenging the status quo. When we challenge the status quo, we are bound to make mistakes. Mistakes are not failures, but actually a huge piece of how we learn. Learning hard things requires mistakes. People who learn from their mistakes, sometimes over and over again, are the ones that reap the benefits. I want to be someone who reaps the benefits. Do you? I recommend starting a reflection by considering what you don't want. I might write some things down. What happens if nothing changes? What does my future hold? If I'm trying to make a change to overcome something that I've been struggling with for a long time, like eating for comfort when I'm stressed or sad, I might even think further into the future, like 10 or so years. What does that future hold if I don't make the change? How does it impact your relationships, the quality of your life? So step number 2 is imagining yourself if you do overcome this eating when you're stressed problem, as our example. Then what does life look like in the future for you then? What will it be like to not obsessively be thinking about food all the time? Really picture in your mind this future self. How would it affect your self-esteem, your relationships, your health, your emotional state? Spend some time on this. Once you get a really clear picture of how much you want to make a change, write down all of the benefits. You can also approach this reflection as a value reflection. Think of some values for you when it comes to your nutrition and health. What I mean by this is not what others expect of you. I'm talking to you, fellow recovering people pleasers. Rather, what I'm talking about is values that shape the person you want to be and what matters most to you. What character strengths do you want to embody? What behaviors do you want to model? Jot some things down. Everyone is usually super confident and motivated in January, right? Or whenever we decide to start something new, but then the motivation kind of drops off in February or March, or maybe we slip up. Maybe we get distracted. This might then lead us to question our choice, wonder if this is going to work. Maybe this isn't the right time for me, or I'll just try again next year. So then we give up and decide it wasn't the right program or something. I'll just try this one over here instead. And that's where this last step is going to come in. I want you to ask yourself, what might go wrong for me this time if I try to make this change? Some negative thoughts that can derail us are things like if I compare myself to another person, or thinking I need to do it perfectly, or thinking I have to do it all the time or nothing, that all or nothing mindset. Can you think of specific thoughts for you that suck the motivation wind out of your sails? What if you prepared a response for when those negative thoughts start to surface? What will you tell yourself when you're ready to give up? Write this down somewhere you can see it on a regular basis. The reason I have people do this at the beginning when their motivation is still high is because when things do go wrong, you can draw back from that motivated version of yourself and be like, see, this is what we're doing. This is what we're working towards. In order to keep it active in your mind, review your list of benefits, your values, and those responses to your negative self-talk on a daily basis. Where will you keep these lists? What time of the day will you review it? A good time could be over your first cup of coffee or before you go to bed at night. Review this list for at least the next 7 days to support that resolve. Then, when April comes along, or your motivation is decreasing, or some big work project comes up, or something happens with your kids that's just stressful and life happens, maybe you'll practice this less, but you'll still have your list. You'll have that benefit of changing. Maybe you even anticipated this would be a problem, or this time of year is just harder, so you have a plan in place. And you keep practicing, but you don't quit. No matter if you decide to make a resolution or not, I encourage you to take some time to reflect and write out some thoughts. Remember to be kind to yourself. Forgive yourself for the past mistakes that you may have made or the resolutions that didn't work out, and focus on moving forward. You deserve to succeed at the changes that you want to make. Also, I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let me know if you did this exercise. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, and Happy New Year!